I actually this is like one of my favorite interviews. This was fun, bro. Like I actually like this one a lot.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Sports Muse podcast. I am your host, Kevin Brumley. First thing I want to talk about is Clubhouse Cards. They sponsor this podcast and they hooked me up with this setup. I just got done with a giveaway for the Elliot Donald episode. I gave away a pit sign and I have other stuff to give away at a later date. So make sure you keep checking in, watching our videos, like, subscribe, follow me on social media, all that fun stuff. Okay. My guest today is a kid I'm excited to have on the show. I've personally coached against this young man, and he torched us pretty good. He's an incredible young player. His name is Amir Dudley. Right now, Amir isn't committed anywhere, but he has plenty of offers, including a lot of Ivy League schools, which shows how intelligent he is. And that definitely shows up on the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down some of this film, and then we're going to get right to the interview. So let's go. Location, location, location. Look at where he puts this ball, nice and low, where his receiver doesn't take the punishment. Look at this throw. He puts it on the top shelf where the kids cannot get it. And this throw is so impressive right here. He's rolling on the run, puts it right on the money, leads his receiver for a big play. And if you were wondering, can he throw it downfield? He puts it right on the money, in stride. Give me all 6 of these. All right, guys. Like I said, we have the runner-up in the state of Pennsylvania. Their starting quarterback, Amir Dudley. Amir, how you doing today?
Good, how about you, man?
You know what? Not too bad. Not too bad. You know what? I want to start off with. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Amir Dudley. I played quarterback for Central Valley High School. I'm one of the top-ranked quarterbacks in PA. I'm saying I like to have fun, I like to joke around. You know what I'm saying, I like to play video games on a gamer. You know what I'm saying. I'm just a regular teenage boy. If you ask me, man, like I do the same thing every other teenager does. I'm no different from anybody else.
That's an important thing to realize. I feel like so often we put sports on this platform and we forget, like, dude, you're just like everybody else. You know what I mean? You just happen to be really, really good at football.
Yeah, facts. I do the same thing everybody else be doing.
One of the things that was crazy impressive is this past year you lost a close one in the state championship game, but you guys went from, in 2018 you were 5-6, and then this past year you were 14-2. What happened? Like, what was the big change?
Well, like sophomore year, we was like mad young. Like we were so young. Like everybody was sophomores and juniors. We had freshmen out there playing stuff like that. Like Sean was like a true freshman, just like playing. Like they just threw him out in the fire. Then like I had like a little bit of experience, and like it's not easy to like win games off rip whenever you don't have like as much chemistry with your wideouts. So like sophomore year, like we started to get things together towards the end of the season, and then like unfortunately we lost first round. But then like my junior year, we just like since the first week that we lost, like second round of playoffs, whenever everybody else was playing, like me and like the people that was going to be seniors the next year, there was like we need to make it to states next year because like I'm not going out like that. So we just worked from second round of playoffs all the way up until like we was even working out during the season, like on the weekends, like say like we had like Saturday off, like we usually have like our Saturday meetings or whatever. Like we go get something to eat after Saturday, and then we go work out right after. Or then the next day we go work out on Sunday. Then Monday we're back to practice. So like I just feel like the seniors set like a really good example for like what it takes to like even though like we weren't like winning, like they knew what it took to win, and like having them as like mentors and like showing us the ropes and like what it's going to take for us to be able to like make it to a Whitfield championship or make it to a state championship, like really helped a lot. And like I just need to say thank you to them because now I can do the same thing for the kids that are younger than me, and hopefully it just becomes a tradition again in Central Valley.
Absolutely, and it's all about passing that torch on, man, because, you know what I mean, the buck moves on after you graduate, and trying to spread that tradition so you continue that winning culture is crazy important. How important was it? Because your last game of the season before playoffs in 2018, you guys played Aliquippa and beat Aliquippa. Was that a big moment for you guys where you're like, because they end up winning the state championship that year. And was that like just a big moment where you're like, hey, you know what? We can hang.
Yeah, like we always like we knew we were good, but like we didn't know like what was missing. Like we like the game that like we kind of like put everything together was when we played Keystone Oaks and like this big old like rain, like it was pouring rain and we was about to lose to them. The quarterback was like taking off down the sideline. Mike Barbito runs up, punches the ball out, and we get the ball back, score. And then like that's whenever everything like clicked, and we was like, bro, like we can actually like win. Like we actually like we know we have it what it takes, but like that was like the moment when you realize like we can really do this. Like we were like losing at the beginning of the season, so like we had like our doubters and stuff like that. So like that gets to your head a little bit, but then like whenever we realize like if we just stick together, we just fight through it and ride it out, like that's when we realize like this is what we need to do. And then like regarding the quit game and stuff like that, when we beat them, like it was like a huge moment because like how you go from winless at the beginning of the season to beating the number one team in the state, you know, like that's definitely when we realized like, bro, like we actually can do this. Like we actually are like good. Like people like I don't like I hate to say this, but like people like sometimes within the community and stuff like that, like not like the older people, but like kids in like our school and stuff, like they'll like talk down on you whenever you lose, but whenever you win, they like all rah and stuff like that. Now bangs with that, like, but like that's like the moment we realize like that's like we only have each other because no matter what, like win or lose, we was there with each other. Like we won, we was still getting on each other. We lost, we were still getting on each other. But then like when you win a big game like that and then you lose the next week, you realize like who's actually like there for you, you know?
I feel like that's a lot of what a team is, man. It's about, it's a brotherhood, and it's definitely one of those things where you guys know the day in and day out grind that you guys put in, and the people that are talking down to you after a loss are the people that don't understand what you guys sink into the game, your heart, your soul, your blood, your sweat, your tears. So it's definitely, it's easy to vibe with those guys for that exact reason. You alluded to earlier that you were one of the best quarterbacks in the state, and that is, undoubtable. What do you think is the most important part or some of the most important parts of playing QB?
One is understanding the game. I feel like there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. Like my sophomore year, like I started to understand it as I got on, like got like along the year, like as I started to like grow and like get experience. But I feel like studying film definitely helps, but it's just understanding your reads. Like Coach Lyons, he goes through like all the reads with me. Like every spring, or like every time like we're about to do like pass scaly or like any or route trees or anything, he goes through all the reads with me. So like it's just like little things like for corners in this technique, then this route's gonna be open based on the coverage, like stuff like that. Just like knowing what to look for. That's a huge part of being a quarterback because I know like I'm not saying that I know, but like I know there's like a lot of quarterbacks that when they drop back, they're just looking for who's open. They're not looking for like certain spots in the defense and stuff like that. They're looking for if he's running past him or not, or if this dude is like open. Instead of looking for like certain spots and knowing like where to go with the ball before you even catch it, you know, like before you even snap it, you already know like where you're gonna go based off what this dude does. Like Coach Lyons always tells me, like, don't look at your receivers. Like the receivers are gonna get there. Look at the defense. And I feel like a lot of quarterbacks, like around here, they're looking at their players to see if they're open instead of looking at the defense to see what they're doing and tracking receivers.
And that's so smart. And it's exactly how you should play quarterback. The defense dictates what you're going to do. You know what I mean? If they're running a cover two, they're probably going to be vulnerable, in the middle of the field. That if they're running a cover three and you're running the flood concept, that you can probably hit that intermediate to short, pass on a flood type concept. And that's so smart. Instead of going like, hey, I'm running this play, I'm throwing it to my X receiver because he's running a slant. Well, guess what? Maybe their defense dictates that they're running a cover two, that squat corner is going to jump on that slant. So that's extremely smart to sit there and say, hey, first thing I can do is read them, then think about my play, then think about who's going to be open, throw to the open spot. True. So what have you been doing this offseason? Like, because you said a lot, you work a lot in the spring, with places being closed, school isn't in session. What have you been doing to try to become a better player?
So, before everything got shut down, I worked out at my dad's. He has like this training facility in Crafton, PA. I work out there. Like a lot of like top field guys work out there. Like Miles has come up there before. I work out with Stephon. I work out with Jawan. I work out with Josh Huff, Noel Roach, Dante Pollard, like all the top field guys. Other than that, like I work out with my dad's, and then I don't really have like a weight like set or anything at home. So like I just been doing like push-ups, sit-ups. I've been like going on TikTok looking up like the different ab exercises I can do. Try to get my 8-pack break for summer, you know what I'm saying? And busting those out. I do it every night, every morning.
What do you think the best part of your game is?
Playmaking. I feel like no matter what, I can turn a bad play into positive yards.
You do see that in your film. Like you have like a lot of like, you're in trouble, you elude like 3 sacks, and like you have like a lot of like little shovel passes where like they're not designed shovel passes, but you're just like, hey, there's trouble there. Clearly, if I have 7 guys around me, this player's sitting there in the flats as my release valve. You just flip it to them and they pick up 20, 30 yards. I would agree with that. Me personally, I think the best part of your game is you're like oddly good at throwing on the run, even to roll into your wrong side. You're pretty cash as far as on the run, where you put it right on the money. And we saw that a little bit when I broke down some of your film. Of it doesn't matter if you're rolling right or left. You're pretty gifted as far as throwing on the run.
Whenever I was younger, my uncle Victor and my dad, my uncle Lamont, they always told me, like, I didn't always play quarterback. Like, when I was younger, I was a running back. I started turning to a quarterback, and they told me, if you could throw on the run, you could throw standing. So they was just like, we're going to practice throwing on the run. And whenever I would just stand there, it was way easier. But, like, throwing on the run is just so much more natural to me. So, like, they would take, like, these trash cans, and they'd, like put them up. I don't know how, but they would, like, tape them to a wall or something. And I just roll. I'm just throwing at the trash can, just try to hit the target. And they was just like, if you can throw on the run, you can throw standing. And I mean, that's pretty obvious that like I can kind of do that now.
Well, and part of the thing is you're a dual threat quarterback, and part of being a dual threat is they're moving you out of the pocket. You know what I mean? Whether it's an RPO or one thing that you guys do a lot of, because you guys have a lot of great athletes, you guys will run like an RPO, but then you'll run a bubble out of it. Mm-hmm. So like you had the initial read, and then you're running out, and that flat backer starts running at you, and then you just flip it over to your bubble guy. And if you can't throw on the run, then it's hard to really, the defense isn't going to respect the RPO as much. So I think that's what makes you guys so deadly is, do you want to get beat on the ground or through the air? Pick your poison.
Coach Lyons, he got the magic, right? He got the recipes on him. I swear. I don't know what he be cooking up, but he got the recipes on his
playbook. Do you have a favorite route to throw?
Post.
You like to post? Okay. Do you have what's the hardest route to throw?
Probably out route or slant, because like you don't want to get them killed. So it just depends on the window. You don't want to get them smoked. Like I throw it a little too high, they getting rocked. If I throw it a little too low, they getting rocked. If I throw it a little too far, it's a pick. If I throw it behind them, it's a pick. You gotta put it right there, and you gotta make sure hit them in the chest or they're gonna die.
You're right. And one of the pieces I broke down earlier is you threw a slant into the end zone, and you put it between a window, and you put it relatively, like, I don't want to say low, but probably between waist and knees to protect the receiver. Because if you did put it even just, head high or a little bit higher, he would have got just murdered. But you did a good job of not only putting the ball in the window, but saving the receiver from taking, punishment. So I definitely see what you're saying there. Is there any quarterbacks that, you idolize or you like to study?
All right. this might sound like a little unorthodox, but I watch Johnny Manziel a lot. Steve Young. I like Patty Mahomes' game. Like, I like his like release points. Like, I think honestly, like Patty Mahomes, like he's just so like different. Like I don't know, like he's not like elusive, but he is at the same time. Like he's so slow, but like he gets away from people. I don't understand. I I said Johnny Manziel, Steve Young, Patty Mahomes. I watched Lamar Jackson like for like open field stuff, try to like pick up his moves and stuff like that. Like whenever I'm running the ball. I watched Brett Favre too, like, and Aaron Rodgers. Like those are probably like my top 6. But like Brett Favre, the only reason I watched him, he was just like different. Like he just had like this like weird like passion about him. Like he was like low key crazy, but I don't know what it is. And then like Aaron Rodgers, he's just so accurate. And Drew Brees, like they're just so like it's odd. It's uncanny like how like accurate those two people are. Like they throw the ball and it's like they can like knock the top off of a bottle. Like it's so.
Well, you mentioned some of those quarterbacks, and you talk about Patrick Mahomes. He isn't your traditional, like he's not a 4 or 5 guy, but he's such a deceptive athlete that he's one of those guys that like I feel like he's always a step ahead of whoever's chasing him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like Jerry Rice was the same way. Like, he wasn't flat out fast. He wasn't a 4.3, 4.4. He's probably a mid 4.5 guy, but he was always a little bit faster than whoever was covering him. And you talk about Brett Favre, and there was no throw on the field that Brett Favre didn't think he could make. It doesn't matter. He was putting it, and he was the original gunslinger. So I think that, as far as accuracy, you talk about Breeze. Those guys are all bring something different to the table. So it's a really good roundabout quarterback tree to watch and follow. What schools have been recruiting
you? Like I have the schools that like I have like offers from and stuff like that. I text most of them like pretty much every day. And then like lately, Northwest, a coach from Northwestern texted me the other day. A coach from Lafayette College, he texted me. I think it's college or university, one or two, but I think it's University of Lafayette. I don't know, but he texted me today, this morning. Yale. I talked to Pitt a little bit. Talked to Penn State. Rutgers. Buffalo a little bit. It's all over the place. Like, because some schools, like, people forget, like they think, like, oh, you don't have this offer, you're trash. Or, like, this and that. But, like, some schools, like, it depends on, like, what year you are and what they need. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, somebody might have an offer from, I don't know, like Akron or something like that. Like, one of your teammates, like, might have an offer from, like, Akron or, like, Bowling Green or something like that. And you're like, why didn't I get that offer? Do they, like, not think I'm good? It's just that they don't need your position. So, like, why would they offer me? Like, like, people forget about that aspect of recruiting, too. Like, it's just a matter of what the team needs.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing when I was looking at some of the schools recruiting you is there's a lot of Ivy League schools after you. And for people that aren't aware, you're a 4.0 student. You take your studies really seriously. And I think, that kind of stuff helps you on the football field. When someone's a good student, clearly they're, somebody who isn't just naturally smart, but puts in the work. Because you said Yale, but Dartmouth's also one, right? Was Stanford looking at you?
I've texted a guy from Stanford before, but like I haven't texted him in a while. It's been like a couple months, but he's definitely reached out to me before.
So, and it's exactly those kinds of things where, even if you never make it to the NFL, this is going to give you a meal ticket to a top of the line education. So either way, you're good. And a lot of people, they kind of, if it's not football, it's football or broke. And, clearly you're a kid who has his wits about him. You're an intelligent kid. And either way, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of, money, happiness, intelligence. Do you have any idea what you might study in college?
I get that question a lot, and I still have no idea. Like, sometimes I just like sit in my bed, and I think maybe if I'm just like in the dark and just stare at the roof, it'll come to my head. But I just have no idea. Like, that's like this is. It's like I have time for sure, but like it's definitely something like I worry about because like that's important. But you can always switch your major. Like, so I mean it's important for sure, but like right now I'm like trying my hardest not to stress about it because
Well, the important thing I would tell you is, someone like I graduated high school and I took a year off actually out of high school because I had no clue what I wanted to do. I was like, I have no idea. And I was 19 and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for health and PE because I was like, I love sports. I was like, I don't know, maybe that's what I'll do. And I went to it and it luckily worked out that I was like, I actually love the health aspect because when I originally did it, I didn't really care about like nutrition or anything like that. I had, a few professors that like lit that fire inside of me and it all worked out. But dude, you have 2 years of gen ed, you can go undecided and still be good. You know what I mean? Just figure out what you like, what you might want to do, and you have plenty of time. So, I would tell any, not even young athlete, just young man, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You'll figure it out. Just follow your passions.
yeah, for sure.
Do you have a message for young athletes?
Young athletes, my message is no matter what, try your hardest to be great. Being great, don't be good, be great. Like if you feel like you can go the extra yard, you feel like you can do the extra rep, always do the extra rep. Like somebody says do 10 push-ups and you can get 15, why are you going to stop at 10? You know what I'm saying? Like always get the extra rep in if you have to, not if you have to, if you have it in you. And never settle for less. Like never like say, okay, I'm gonna do this whenever you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Be a leader at all times. And I feel like that's where a lot of people go wrong, especially when they're young. Like they don't realize like if you're going to be a D1 athlete, you have to be like a little bit different. Like you can be a normal kid, of course, but you can't do the same thing that everybody else does. Like,
Yeah, it all follows you is exactly what you're saying, that if you do dumb things, then that will come back and haunt you at a later date, which is completely right. Have fun, be a normal kid, just don't be an idiot, don't do dumb things.
don't do dumb things.
It's like always like fun is, I like to ask that question at the end of the interviews and ask them, hey, what do you recommend for young athletes? And we're speaking to young athletes, but it's also all those things are for anybody. Work hard, go the extra mile, be a leader. So many people, they're like, I hate sports, stupid jocks. I don't understand. It's just a game. But dude, this game teaches you way more than just the game, dude. This is setting you up for success in life, man. If hey, man, I'm not the greatest at this. I had to work my tail off. That translates to real life. Hey, I'm not the great at my accounting job, but I just need to work a little bit harder and I'll become better. That's life. You know what I mean? So that's advice for anybody watching.
Exactly. Like sports is so many life lessons in sports. I can name so many lessons I learned just from my 17 years of life, just from playing sports for 12. Like literally so much has happened. And just from being known for sports and stuff like that, like it just taught me that like I'm gonna have to be different. Like I gotta be different.
I'm with you, man. So we're going to do a little game. Before we do rapid fire questions, I always like to do this with quarterbacks, and I have you guys build a perfect quarterback. Okay. So I will give you something like, either body, head, arm strength, arm accuracy, or legs. And you tell me out of like NFL quarterbacks of all time to build the perfect quarterback. Okay.
Okay.
So let's start off with body as far as height, weight. What body you picking?
I'm gonna have to go with who's like a perfect build. I would say Big Ben, but he's like fat. Like
so how about in shape Big Ben?
in shape Big Ben for sure. That's one big nah. body, I'm going to have to say Cam Newton.
That's who I was thinking. It's got to be Cam Newton, right?
Cam Newton.
All right. So head.
Head, probably Tom Brady.
I think that's a good one. Arm strength.
Pat Mahomes.
That's a good one. Yeah. Accuracy.
Drew Brees.
Legs.
I'm stuck. I don't know whether to say Johnny Manziel or Lamar Jackson. Because Johnny Manziel, Lamar Jackson, he's definitely a better runner than Johnny Manziel. I'm still Lamar Jackson.
I like it. I'd probably honestly gave you the same answers for everything that you said, actually. All right, so let's do some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right, first one. Mike Vick or Lamar Jackson?
Mike Vick.
Okay. Best player you've ever played against?
Josh Huff.
Okay. Favorite TV show?
What's it called? I just drew a blank. This is supposed to be rapid fire. Riverdale.
Okay. To go back to the best player you ever played against, I thought you'd go Devonshire.
And MJ was good, but Josh, he was dominating. Even when we were younger, he was dominating. MJ, that's my cousin, and
Okay.
Josh, my best friend. But I played against MJ and we beat them, so I'm not hearing.
Okay. Would you rather be hot or cold?
Cold.
I agree. If you could pick a superpower, what would it be?
The ability to grant my own wishes.
Okay. Favorite dunk ever?
Whenever Vince Carter put his arm in the rim.
Arm in the cookie jar. Okay. Most clutch NBA player ever?
This might be a little controversial, but I'd probably say Reggie Miller.
I'm with you, man. Anybody who studied the game, Reggie Miller was pretty cash. If you were in the NFL and you could have a wide receiver in their prime, what wide receiver would you pick?
Randy Moss.
Yeah, it's tough to go against Moss, man. When his head was on straight. Whew. Would you rather stub your toe, get a paper cut, or bite your lip when eating?
Bite my lip.
Oh, I hate that. I can't stand that. I don't know. And then give me your celebrity crush.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to say Madison Beer.
I don't know who that is.
Madison. Oh my God. She's so big. Her or Addison Rae.
I've checked them out.
A1.
Hey man, I want to say I appreciate you having on the show. Anybody that's here, I'm gonna have Amir's teammate Miles Walker on later this week. So make sure you guys tune in. I really hope you guys have this season coming up because I'd hate to see you guys go out and can't compete your senior year. That is starting to be a concern that we won't have this football season. But I do appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Yeah, no problem. I actually this is one of my favorite interviews. This was fun, bro. I actually like this one a lot. This is probably one of my top 5 favorite interviews I ever had.
Well, I appreciate that, man. So I'm glad you had a good time. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and keep tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.